What's up, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Game, your one source for everything cool in video games. You can always be a part of our show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or join us and hit us up in Discord, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. What's coming up on today's episode? Here it is. It's the rundown.
And all it is people just slamming you with their rocks because for whatever reason, that's the thing to do.
Guys, June is just around the corner, which means it's almost Christmas for gamers. E3 is coming up, and we have our E3 predictions. We're each picking 3 things.
The actual just amount of customization available to you right from the get-go in this game is huge, right? It really allows you to tailor that gameplay to the character that you create, right from the character creation screen.
Everything all tied together to make, in my opinion, the best, if not one of the best, Resident Evil experiences to date.
Well, that looks like an awesome show, so let's get started as we have Nate and Steve kicking it off and trying to survive. Here we go.
Alright, Steve, we're playing this week the long-awaited Rust. Alright, Steve, this week we got our hands on Rust. And for a lot of people, they've been waiting for this on console. Myself, I wasn't necessarily super excited about it, but knowing that this is the original survival game, the one that really created all the likes of Valheim and Ark, knowing that, I was a little excited. But man, my experience with Rust is kind of like you said just before this. It's a pile of rust.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, first of all, I had to make sure I was playing on a console. I was playing on my Xbox Series X. When I put it on, I had to make sure that I didn't have it on an old PC, throw out the graphics cards, because that's what it felt like to me. Visually, it looked boring. There was no excitement. There was no, I would say, challenges. It is basically, there you go, start at the beach, and it is a survival game, and that's all you have to do. But it's not against monsters or zombies or anything. It's other community.
Man, that's basically it, dude. This game is barren. I think in my entire 6 hours of playing this game, like 2 horses and 4 chickens, and then 1 wolf that killed me instantly because I spawned in and then it just killed me. And you wanna know what? It looked bad. This game doesn't look great. This came out in late 2013, around December, so it looks like a title from December in 2013. So playing it now, man, I just had a really tough time getting into this. You spawn in, there's people all over the place, broken down houses, and all it is people just slamming you with their rocks because for whatever reason, that's the thing to do. There's nothing else to do. It's just PvP. That's all people want to do when they play this game. So if you're, trying to build a base and establish any sort of anything, man, good luck.
But the other thing as well is, even when you're having this battle with your rocks against other community people, the mechanics are rubbish. I kept trying to re-angle myself, repositioning, and he's taking a swing and he's just totally missing me. And it's like, and he actually ran all the way from one end. I could just see him in the distance, and I thought, okay, he's doing his thing. He might be trying to bash some trees down to make wood so he can craft stuff. So in the distance, the man comes running all over just to hit me with a rock. For what? For me just to spawn with nothing to start off with?
This game's community is relentless, and this game gives you no tutorial. At the very beginning, there's 3 things that they tell you. How to throw your rock, and I think how to look around with your camera. Like, that's pretty much the extent of the tutorial. I've come from the likes of Last Oasis. Their tutorial was like a 2-hour one, maybe a little aggressive with that, but it's all about purely figuring out the game. You have a rock, you harvest wood, you then build a house or try to build an axe with it. And then from there you just kind of build and build. But still, a little more direction would have helped so much.
Oh, definitely. And even when you just touching on, you talk about the rocks. When you're carrying this rock, it's massive. But then if you throw it, it's like a pebble. And then you have to search on the ground. And also, you can't pick up any particular rock either. Like some games, any rock you see, you can pick them up and you store it to craft weapons and materials and stuff. This one was actually like, there's a rock there. Oh, can't even pick it up.
Nope.
I have to pick this pebble up. And then you have to use the rock to hit the trees, which then come up with X marks of the hitting points. It's supposed to save you time. But I don't know about you. The problem I had obstacles in front of the tree. So my reach for my arm with the rock wouldn't hit the tree. So I had to try and stand on the rock and then crouch down so I'm at the right height to hit the X.
You're spending so much time just trying to hit the mark, and you end up wasting more time. So I agree with you, man. Very clunky. Like this entire game, it's just kind of a clunky mess. And there is something cool here. You start off with a stick house. You can upgrade it to logs, then to rock, and then even to metal. And you can get, you start off with a bow and like a stone hatchet, but you eventually get like an AK-47 or a rocket launcher. Like, there is some cool elements to this game, but to get there, there's just there's a lot of other games at this point that I would recommend before this. So one more thing I gotta quickly touch up on is the map design. There's basically a starter spawning area, kind of like we have mentioned earlier. Just people spawning everywhere, just trying to kill you. So if you can kind of get out of that area somehow and somehow build a base, that's your best bet. But there are actual safe zones, which I thought was kind of cool. You go into this gated area where there's soldiers walking around, and there's sort of like a marketplace and a place where you can't use your weapons. You can kind of at least hide temporarily. But man, the map design, it is, again, a barren, boring map in my opinion. It's just, I think we need to score this one up, dude. What are you going to score this?
Yep. Well, to be honest with you, there is plenty of survival games out there. Unfortunately, this one wasn't for me. There wasn't enough content to keep me going. It's obviously not designed for one person. It's get your buddies involved, so you've got that extra help and support. But at the moment, when you got like Valheim with the beautiful graphics and the nice background music, like you touched on before, Last Oasis, the walkers and the creatures, still a survival game, but what a lot of fun. Then, unfortunately for me, I'm rating this a 4.5.
Oh, man, I'm pretty close with you. I've come from the likes of Ark, that is just filled with trees and all sorts of resources and dinosaurs to kill. This game has absolutely pretty much nothing in it. This one's getting a 4 from me. A barren, boring game that is built for people who like to troll.
Guys, June is just around the corner, which means it's almost Christmas for gamers. E3 is coming up, and we have our E3 predictions. We're each picking 3 things we are, I don't know, hopeful to see or expect to see.
I think hopeful is the right word. Hopeful, go with hopeful.
Okay, here, I'll get things started. I'm going to start because we're getting some of the big names are back, right? So I'm going to kick it off. I think I might actually take this one from Nate. Halo Infinite is going to be showcased. We will see a trailer and the release date, and it launches this fall. That's my prediction. I think we're going to see that this year. That's a lot of predictions all in one. We'll see how well that pans out. But dude, if they can't get Halo out this year, that's going to be a huge upset for a lot of fans and put Xbox a little bit further behind again.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
So I think that's my safe one. But Nate, what you got?
All right, man. Well, you're absolutely right. Halo Infinite is 100% coming out this fall. They delayed it a year, and with all the updates we've been getting fairly frequently, it's looking really good. But my game, man, I keep hearing rumors, and it's like, oh, it's 2022. No, it's 2021.
It's 2022.
I'm just like, it's 2021, man. Starfield's coming out this year. I'm calling it. So I think if Microsoft can hit Halo Infinite and Starfield, wow, that would be incredible. First of all, the Game Pass would be insane. Just with those two games, not to mention whatever third-party games they're going to add to it.
Yep.
But man, Starfield, I've been waiting for this game since they had that one teaser trailer with the thing in space and just their amazing Bethesda music. I'm so hyped, and I know we're gonna actually get some details.
Okay.
This E3.
Let me ask you this then: is this at the Microsoft Xbox showcase, or is this at the Bethesda showcase?
Xbox.
I think Xbox, man. I should have maybe looked into this. I don't know how the timing of everything works, but if Microsoft is leading into Bethesda, I could see that being like the finisher, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
They'll maybe start with Halo
and then end with
throw
Starfield?
that in the middle to get you exclusive, and then just Starfield be like, yeah, by the way, guys, don't worry, Bethesda's still killing it.
There you go, Corey. What do you got for us?
I'm gonna kick it over to the Nintendo Switch, and I'm hopeful to hear about the game. Not necessarily think about a release date this year, but I want to see some info on Breath of the Wild 2. And I mean, I know you guys are on board with it too. The first game is awesome. I mean, I'd still yet to be, a part of that world. I want to play that game still, but I'm gonna wait for this second one. Hopefully, maybe just play them back to back. Honestly.
Oh man!
But I'm excited for this game. Like, it's so nostalgic, and I just want to be able to jump into this world, but I want some info on it because we've got so little about this. So I just want a little more info. I'm hopeful for a bunch of info, but we'll see what we get.
Oh, it's Nintendo though, man. I hate to say it, but they're like the worst for releasing anything. It's
I know, man. I know.
I'm so hopeful with you though, man.
Okay, my second pick. I've been wanting this. I think there's been a lot of us looking for this one. Ubisoft conference. We finally are going to see Splinter Cell. We're gonna see it this year. We're not gonna. We are gonna say we will see very, very little when it comes to Splinter Cell. But I think they're going to announce that it is finally in development. When we will see it, I bet you we're still years out. But I expect to see like a, the three lights kind of, right? It comes on.
That would be so good.
That's my second pick.
With the green Xbox Game Pass.
I'm not putting that part in there. That's not my. But that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see if that one comes out of Ubisoft. Nate, what do you got for number 2?
All right, and this might actually surprise you guys, but man, Metroid 4, I think, is what we're waiting for. I don't know. It's been 500 years since we've had a Metroid Prime game, but man, I played it a little bit on GameCube, but I was pretty young at the time when the first one launched. But watching my brother play it, man, first of all, I thought the graphics were they were the best on GameCube.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree.
And the protagonist, Samus, she is so cool. Her suit of armor is cool. I loved playing her in Smash. I mean, I need another Metroid, man. It's like I said, Nintendo, they don't ever give us any details.
Yeah, they're good at holding
it's like, this is a 100% easy money grab, so to speak. I mean, they could make this a terrible game, and I still think they would probably make money on it.
I'm sure. Oh my goodness.
What about you, Corey?
Well, again, I'm looking for a little more hope here because I think we're going to get some updates on the previous version of this game, but I want to see something on GTA 6, guys.
Oh,
I think we might get something.
Really, eh?
We might just get something because I know they're bringing GTA 5. They're going to probably be announcing some details of it coming to the new gen consoles, which is, I mean, let's get real here. That's absolutely amazing. We're spanning 3 generations of consoles in one game. Like, it's,
Are you
wait.
Are you gonna get it?
I don't know. Probably not as long as my old Xbox still survives. You know what I mean? Like, if I can still run that game, I will. But honestly, I want to see something on GTA 6.
Yeah.
I know it's a stretch, but let's get real. Like, this is a big event this year.
Huge.
This is something that everybody can attend. It's it's going to be a ton of fun, I think, for the entire community. So I'm really hoping that this is just kind of, a huge splash. Something that even if we just get a teaser trailer, man, just give me something in that GTA world. I think honestly, everybody that's still huge into that game right now wants a taste of something new.
Yeah.
So here's hoping, fingers crossed.
Well, Take-Two has really been. They just released some insane numbers of games coming out and all sorts of updates. So I wouldn't be totally shocked, I guess, but I wouldn't expect much more than like what we got in 2018 for Starfield. Just like a very teaser-esque trailer.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Just something. Well, GTA sold 145 million units so far, like in this quarter. I was like,
what?
Yeah. This quarter. Last quarter was 140. So, like, it's just insane. This game is unstoppable.
How?
I don't know. This is what Scott and I were talking about at the Daily Show. But yeah, it was nuts. But my last prediction.
Okay.
All right, my final and last prediction. They are not even going to be there. They will have no presence. But they do not want to let Xbox take all the spotlight. So PlayStation is going to announce the next Uncharted. That is my prediction, right? They're not going to be at E3. We already know that, right? They haven't been for a while, but they still don't want to lose all the spotlight over that big time period, right? With E3 is huge, so they don't want to be outdone. What do? They drop what's happening with the next Uncharted game. That is my final and third prediction, boys. Nate, what do you have?
That's a good one, dude. I honestly wasn't even actually thinking about that. But realistically, with 25 titles that PlayStation's working on and 13 being new, I think 12 of those definitely Uncharted's one.
Absolutely.
So,
I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Good call, man. So, I don't know. There's so many games that I guess we could predict. But really, guys, we just went over how much time I play in Rainbow Six Siege, and it was something like 43 days.
Yeah, no, it was intense.
So, that to say, I think I'm excited, and I'm predicting that Rainbow Six Parasite, I believe they call it now, will be shown. This game is coming out this year. And I don't know, guys. Like, what do you think? Think it's gonna be like Siege? If it's anything like that Outbreak mode that they
I think that's what it is.
2 or 3 years back.
Yeah.
It was actually a lot of fun. Me and a few buddies actually played it and had a good time. So if they really expand upon that with all the new operators, I think it could be really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for that game, man. That one's like, we got an early tease of that one, really early stages, and then obviously the pandemic hit, things really slowed down. But, they've pushed through, and this game's coming out this year. I'm excited for it, man. Honestly,
we're sieging up.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's one of those things. You got to go, brush it off, man. Let's get ready for the next one. But for me, this is a game that they talked about, they've talked about for a little while now. We've seen some stuff on it, but Hogwarts Legacy. This is something, it's a world I read the books as a kid. It's just
love the movies.
This generation of console we're in right now is the generation for this game. For everything that this game is going to have, I think kind of it's going to be so magical, honestly, as stupid as that sounds, no pun intended. But, just the teasers of what we got so far for this game, it looked really awesome. Being able to immerse yourself in that Hogwarts world. I'm really hoping we get, some gameplay footage, some more information on this title, right? Because this could be a huge game. Maybe a late year release? I don't know. I'm probably thinking we're looking like another 2 years probably till we see this game. But at least let us see some early stages of what's happening with this game other than cinematics, right?
No, dude, I can't wait for that game. It's had some rocky times over there with WB and things. So hopefully they can kind of surpass that and get on with the game itself and just give the fans what they want. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Give the fans what they want, and have deserved, I think, for the longest time coming out of that whole franchise with Harry Potter and stuff. Can't wait, man. But yeah, like I said, guys, E3 just around the corner. Hit us up at InsideTheGame.ca. Let us know, what are your E3 predictions? All right, Corey, it's finally here. It's time to become a Biomutant. Corey, it's here. It's finally here. We've seen the delays, and I'm glad it's been delayed because, dude, this is a polished game. Biomutant is finally here, and I had an absolute blast, dude. I completed the game in around, I would say, about 50 hours into the game. Did all the main story and a bunch of the side quests. I still have side quests to go back and do if I would choose to, but I've done the campaign, which is the coolest part. The overall story is, I really just don't want to say. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to, Corey, let's talk about the game, because the game mechanic starts off, I think, really strong. I think the game intro I thought was fantastic, and then you start to build your character, and the options to build your character I thought were super cool.
Yeah, man. The actual just amount of customization available to you right from the get-go in this game is huge, right? It really allows you to tailor that gameplay to the character that you create. Right from the character creation screen, we have all different, it's not it's not your run-of-the-mill character creator, right? We're setting classes, we're kind of leaning a certain graph a certain way, and it changes the way our player looks, whether they're big, fat, tall, skinny, their head's huge if they have got a big brain, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of kind of comical, funny things that you run across when you do set up this game and start to play through it. But again, they kind of just get you right into it right away. You get into this awesome, I find the combat mechanics in this game to be really, really well. I've had a ton of fun playing it. I like the fact that, maybe it's because I have an elite controller, so I can take advantage of some of the extra buttons and paddles, because there are a few button combinations here that I did find as you get through the move sets, depending on which weapons you use, it can be extensive as well, and you unlock, stuff for that. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here because there's a ton of mechanics at play. This is a very Fable-like RPG, and we talked a little bit at the beginning of this, is that, this is a bit of a beginner RPG in certain elements. I mean, we have three difficulty levels you can play through here: easy, medium, and hard. The default is obviously medium, and honestly, I didn't find it overly difficult at medium. I don't know about you.
No, I didn't either. I thought the medium was at a good pace. I kind of mentioned this off screen to you, is in the fact that I feel like Biomutant is an entry-level RPG for my kids, but there's still something there for the adults to get out of this as well, because, dude, I loved the game. Like, I had such a great time. I'm able to go in and completely customize myself, my weapon of choice, right? Like, there's so many different options, and how you upgrade all that. You go out, get material, and you beat certain bosses and things like that along your ventures out in the world. And the world itself is stunning, dude. I took pictures along the way because I like doing the whole the photo mode stuff. Photo mode is super basic. There's nothing special about this, I'm going to be honest. I just happened to capture the moveset at the right light and all that kind of stuff. And, dude, my character was badass looking by the time I was done. He was sick, man. Like, I had a great time. Briefly, the story is like, how do we say this? Revenge. I guess I would kind of, right? Essentially, you're out for revenge on what's happened to your tribe. You go out and you can choose which other tribes in the world to go and kind of partner up with, and then you try to get all the tribes together. It's just, there's so many options, and there's this light side and this dark element side of yourself. And dude, those two characters, honestly, the light kind of over your shoulder and the dark, they were annoying as can be. I'm like, I don't care what you guys have to say. And sometimes I went dark side, so I'm trying to choose mostly my dark stuff. And sometimes I thought the options, I couldn't quite understand if I was choosing the correct side for which way I wanted to, base my character off of. So I would start off dark, and then these two clowns would pop up, and then I end up choosing my last choice as the light side. I went, no, that's not what I wanted, right? Because it's not exactly clear cut as to how that works. So for me, that part was a little irritating. The narrator throughout the entire game can be a little overbearing. I think the story itself is really well done. I thought the story was cool. I love the elements in the world building within the game. And the world is huge.
Oh, it's massive.
Right? It's very expansive. Lots of options. That's just... I love the fact that I was just out there exploring the entire time. Like, I was just it's kind of felt like a little bit of a GTA and Beyond Good and Evil mix for me. I set in one direction and then I'd be veering off somewhere else, right? It was kind of one of those kind of mechanics. And that's why I'm 50 hours into the game by the time I wrapped it up, because I was just off in other directions. But the characters, Corey, talk about the characters, dude.
Well, honestly, this world is full of so many different styles of characters, man. Whether, you know, they're allies or they're enemies, we've got a little bit of everything here. And like you said, the verbiage in this game is somewhat a little bit difficult to understand. You even mentioned that it's very kind of Dr. Seuss-like. And that, you know what, that's probably the closest comparison you could draw, is that some of the words used in this game, you mean, they don't mean anything to us in real life in our normal English, right? So it's
not at all.
It was a little difficult to kind of pick up on what was going on every once in a while, or just kind of what the character may be talking about. But again, the characters, we're getting animals of all different varieties, man. We've got sea otters all the way up to giant three-headed, fluffy, panda-looking things that wear pajamas, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, there's all different kinds of enemies, and just the way you kind of interact with everybody. You can talk to anybody in this game, and someone's got something to say. There's so much story here, and like you said, you could be playing through the main missions and rolling through objective after objective, but you pick up a ton of side quests along the way, and it is easy to just kind of switch quickly, and they do a good job at allowing, if you find a side mission while you're currently on one, they give you kind of a time period if you want to start tracking that quest you've just come across, if you really just want to jet off real quick and try that side quest, because some of them actually get you items and things that'll help you along the way, right? It's not necessarily something you want to just avoid completely. I think the side quest element in this game is massive. It will take a lot of extra time to go back and complete these quests after you complete the main story, but I mean, I think there's value in everything here, because everybody here in this world has something to say, whether they're good or bad, right? So I really love that element.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't wasting my time. You know, sometimes you just get into these fetch quests and you're like, why am I doing this again? And I didn't get that feeling whatsoever. I just got the feeling of, I'm going to go do a quest for somebody else now and go explore some more of the world. And that's kind of where my whole headspace was at with this game. I just out to explore and see what I kind of come across. Dude, you can get lost in this game for hours. It's so easily done. The world is like, because it is so big, and it's not the same thing. It's not repetitive at all, right? So that's the bright side of it. I'm just running into constantly new things. Now, by the time I was grinding for my loot, by the end of the game, I was starting to get some of the same helmets and this, you know, some of the similar gear. But you break it all down, and then you can keep upgrading the current stuff you already have, and that's what I focused on. Dude, I had the one gun from almost the beginning of the game, but by the time I finished it, that same gun, because I changed out the variations on it so many different times, it was a completely different gun. Like, I was freezing guys by the time I was finished. Like, it was sick. And then you get these other powers. Corey, we didn't even talk about the powers, man, because there's so much here, man.
There's so much in this game.
Oh my god, there's so many things to get. And I was like, okay, how do I get this power to that power or this power? And you kind of combination with your buttons. So if you would hold, we played on Xbox, and I played on the Xbox Series X. Corey, you did the same, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But it is, so the game launches as a PS4 and an Xbox One game, but it's coming to Xbox Series X and the PS5 as upreds, I would say this week as it drops, I want to say.
Yes.
So we played the base game. The new ones, the new iteration on that is coming forward. But getting into the powers, we would hold a left trigger, and then we use the face buttons in order to activate our powers. Dude, I had this big like ice thing that kind of put like
the ice thing was so cool, man.
Right? And I'm burning people, I'm zipping around everywhere. Like, the game has so many options to customize your character and make you feel like my character is my character, and Corey, your character is yours, and it's catered to you, right? And that's the best part about this game. No one's gonna have the exact same character, and that's what I love. One of the things I love the most about Biomutant. Crack-a-doo. Corey, I think it's fair to say each of us loved Biomutant. There's nothing that's overbearing about this game. I think it's a great entry level, but yet there's still a lot to the RPG elements that's going to keep a lot of us around. There's so much to do, so much to love. There was a couple minute things, like the narrator does get a little annoying, but the best option is, Corey, you can actually turn that down. You can turn him down so you don't listen to some of the annoying things that he does, like the slurpy slurp and then this and that, and I'm just like, dude, really? Even though I left it on the entire time. But it's still, there's so much. I love this game, dude. I can't wait to see if they come up with a sequel, because I'll be there on day one. This game for me, 9.5.
Oh, you know what? I knew it was going to be a high score for me too because you were really loving it. Honestly, Drew, this game is a ton of fun. I mean, we're waiting for Fable to come out. I know this isn't necessarily a Fable game, but this is Fable-esque, right? It gives you those feels, and this game is polished. Like you said, they took a little bit of extra time to make this one, and it was well worth it. The audio in this game is amazing. Everything that you run across, I mean, there's just so much variety. The individuality that you get out of this game is really what's going to keep you in there. The fact that my gameplay is going to be completely different than yours, completely different from the next person's. This game has it all and has it done it just right. You know what I mean? They've got it nailed just right where it needs to be. I'm right there with a 9.
Nice.
Love to see you shine on.
No one likes Perky. Perky's so uncool.
The night may be cool.
Tons of character customization options in a bright and colorful world will have you spending hours in this Fable-like RPG. Some of the dialogue can be tough to understand at times, but honestly, this one was definitely worth the wait.
Alright, this week I'm playing the long-awaited sequel to Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village. Alright, so this week I got my hands on Resident Evil Village, and I'm gonna say right off the hop, you need to go and pick up this game right away. I absolutely loved this game. It is a perfect blend of both horror, suspense, puzzle solving, action. It's got everything all tied together to make, in my opinion, the best, if not one of the best, Resident Evil experiences to date. Starting things off, it takes place right after the events of Resident Evil 7. Without getting too much detail of that whole story, basically, you and your family have been rescued and are put in a village so that you are to be safe from what happened in Resident Evil 7. But that all to say, of course, all hell breaks loose and you are separated from your family. And kind of like a lot of other games, you're basically crashed on the side of a highway. It's dark, you don't know what's happening, and you slowly creep your way into this village and find out, of course, that something terrible has gone wrong here. So upon entering the village, you're trying to find your daughter who is separated from you in the crash. And through unsolving some of the mystery that's happening within the village, you encounter warlords and the ultimate Lady Miranda. Now, in my opinion, this game has some of the most iconic characters. Maybe their cast time was a little less than I would have liked, but still, these characters, all of them, very unique and just blend perfectly to make this very creepy ongoing story.
Steal my property! Damn! Rest while you can!
The combat in this game, it just takes me back to the days of Resident Evil 4. My first real experience of Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4, and to have a game that is sort of like that, but in first person, not third person, it just adds all the more tension, and just the graphics in this game are incredible. Probably the best looking game to date on the Xbox Series X. And what I love about the combat is that the zombies, they kind of slowly approach you, and you have to just aim your gun and of course try to get those headshots, because that's how you take down these guys. And if you're just going for body shots, you're bound to run out of ammo. This game's about finding ammo, exploring, because if you don't, you will run out of ammo. Although, if you do, there is a shopkeeper introduced back into the Resident Evil series, much like Resident Evil 4. And in my opinion, the Duke is just, He's wicked. He's an awesome character with a menacing voice, and he just helps you out so much along the way, giving you upgrades for your weapons. You can buy new parts for your weapons. You can buy ammo. You can buy blueprints for different weapons and mines. There's all sorts of stuff in this game. I just can't get over the hype for it. Now, the audio in this game, I cannot stress to you enough the tension building that it brings. When you're in a dark, eerie cave that has blood all over the walls and hanging corpses, and then you have this orchestra and strings all playing and just building up, it's absolutely just, there's a lot of moments where I just was and just constantly jumping. This game, maybe to a lot of people, wasn't as scary as Resident Evil 7, but I found, especially for the first half, it was terrifying. And I'm not going to show it or even really spoil anything about this, but one of the creepiest and scariest moments I've ever experienced in a game was in Resident Evil 8, and you need to see that if you're into the spooky stuff. Okay, I could sit here and talk about how much more wonderful this game is to you, but I don't want to say anymore because it's just going to spoil something. So, if I'm going to score Resident Evil Village, what would I give it? Well, it's pretty obvious. This is actually a 10 out of 10. This game is amazing. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, horror experiences I have ever played. The story is incredible. The gameplay drives you forward. Everything is a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. A masterpiece that every horror fan must experience. Bringing Resident Evil back to its roots while also being innovative makes this game unlike any other.
The one who captured him.
Now, daughters. First, I must inform Mother Miranda. But later, well, there will be enough for everyone. Put him up.
Hey, wait.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Alright, so for this week in Level Up, I'm talking about Hunt Showdown. And what I'm going to talk about is the revival system, because it is a little unclear on exactly how it works. For me, I actually had to go and look it up because I just didn't understand it. But here's how it works. Your health bars actually determine the amount of times that you can go down before permanently dying. So if you have 3 big health bars, you can only go down 2 times, because the 3rd time you do, you are permanently dead. So this is the big thing you have to keep in mind while you're either building your hunters or just being that aggressive player that you might want to be. And of course, if you didn't know this, setting bodies on fire, like with a firebomb or a lantern, is what really speeds up that process on burning through your life bars when you're down. So if you can actually have that perk, Salve Skin, that really is a bit of a saving grace. So that 25% buff really can go a long way. Now I hope that helped you out. It took me a little while to figure that out on Reddit, exactly how the revival system worked, but please let me know if you're actually playing Hunt Showdown. I've been playing this now for quite a while and I'm still heavily addicted to it with my 2 buddies that I play with very regularly. Hit us up on Discord or on Inside the Game to let me know.
Mario Golf Super Rush is the new game in the Mario Golf franchise, and actually this one looks really sweet. We just got a gameplay trailer that showcases the new 16 characters that we're going to be able to jump into and test out here. The game's coming out on June 25th, and honestly, it does look like our run-of-the-mill Mario Golf experience, but with a few twists, because they've actually showcased some of the new game modes we're going to get to play. The first one being Speed Golf, where you and up to 3 friends actually battle it out at the same time, taking your shots, teeing off at the same time. And the idea is to get to your ball in the hole before the other 3 players. But the trick is after you take your shot, you then have to run to where the ball landed and actually go on and take your next shot from there. You pick up items and stamina along the way. There's actually special dash techniques for each character, very much like there's special shots that are unique to each character. That's kind of brought over from the last game. And let me tell you, this looks frantic because you're just running from shot to shot and you're battling the other people along the way and also trying to make good golf shots and get the ball in the hole before everybody else. It looks like a ton of fun, and honestly they kind of segue that into the next game mode, which is actually Battle Golf. And this takes place, it's very similar to Speed Golf in the sense that you're trying to get the ball in the hole before everybody else, but here there's 9 holes. It's in an arena setting that's kind of this Coliseum style thing where the golf course is actually kind of all over itself inside this arena. There's 9 holes, and the objective is to sink 3 holes before anybody else. This looks kind of like a bit of a twist to Speed Golf. I like the setting changes, kind of neat. But honestly, I'm not sure how different they're going to be. It'll be interesting to see once the game's released how much difference there is between these 2 game modes. And the final game mode they showcased was Golf Adventure, which is the single player experience. You can take your Nintendo Mii character and level them up through this kind of solo campaign, and it does look pretty cool. Eventually you can build your golfer up to the the level of the characters in the game that you can just pick right away, the Marios, the Luigis, and you can actually just mix your custom character in with those. So that does look like a ton of fun. Honestly, I'm looking forward to Mario Golf. It's been a while since we've had a good Mario Golf game, so the fact that we're going to be getting it here coming up at the end of June is really exciting. So if you're looking forward to Mario Golf Super Rush, it's coming out on June 25th on the Nintendo Switch.
It's unfortunate that Little Big Planet servers are shut down yet again. Now, they've only just reopened these servers since it's been shut down since mid-March, and this was due down to a distributed denial of service attack. But unfortunately, Sony and Media Molecule did not mention this, and they just put it down to technical and server issues. Media Molecule tweeted, "We are aware that some of our community are experiencing issues with the servers. Please be assured that we are investigating these new attacks and will update you when we know more." And then they changed their tone and followed up with a different tweet. "LBP server update. Due to the severity of recent attacks, we have no option than to temporarily disable the game servers. We do not take these attacks lightly, especially when they target our loyal community members. Thanks for understanding." Now, this is very sad and also concerning as well, as some of the fans have been reported on Reddit that hackers have been able to put error messages in game and also change the language to offensive content. Now, this is also very worrying, as Little Big Planet is more geared towards children and being more family friendly.
Alright, get your cameras ready. We're taking pictures in the Lentil region in new Pokemon Snap. Alright, so new Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo Switch. What a trip down memory lane. Now, way back in the day when I played on Nintendo 64, I only briefly played the original Pokemon Snap. I was more into the battle siding things of Pokemon, but I still appreciated the 64 Pokemon Snap. This was really cool being able to take pictures of all these different Pokemon and the whole style that they went with. So, moving into 2021, they've really kind of just mastered this formula, in my opinion. We are now in the Lentil region, exploring all sorts of different biomes during the day, at night, exploring and taking pictures of all sorts of Pokemon. The game starts you off meeting Professor Mirror and his assistant Rita, and they basically kind of show you the ropes of the game, taking pictures of the Pokemon, how the camera angles all work, and then from there the professor shows you his latest tech, your camera, which also tracks all the data for the Pokemon. So it kind of serves like a Pokedex and a camera at the same time. And then he goes to show you the new vehicle, where, so in Pokemon Snap on the 64, you used to be on a cart on a set path. But on this one, you're in some sort of new hovercraft that Professor Mirror has created. And it really just opens up a lot of opportunity for seeing all sorts of different Pokemon from different angles. Instead of just being on a cart on the ground, you're hovering and flying around certain areas. It's really cool. So after getting shown the ropes from Professor Mirror and Rita, you go off on your first adventure. And what this game consists of is you trying to capture moments of the Pokemon doing things in their natural habitat, be it eating or interacting with other Pokemon or sleeping or throwing a fruit at them and waking them up and catching them in their yawn. There's all sorts of different pictures and moments that you need to capture, and that's what fulfills your Pokedex in this game. Each picture is rated, be it on the size of the Pokemon, the placement of the Pokemon, if there are more Pokemon in the picture. There are all sorts of factors that contribute to a point system, and if you reach 4,000 points, you receive a diamond status on that picture. And with all these points, you're slowly leveling up each region and each area. So like I said earlier in my review, you will go in a mission on during the day and then another mission during the night. So each of those have their own sort of level system, and as you take more pictures of the Pokemon and level up that area, you actually uncover more Pokemon in that area, and they will be doing even more things to capture more of those starred picture moments. It's a really cool blend of things, but ultimately the game is you just capturing pictures of Pokemon over and over again. And one of the added features as well is the Illumini Pokemon. These Pokemon, they glow at night and are beautiful and magnificent. And in this game, you get to really explore some of these Pokemon interacting with other Pokemon, and it's a really cool kind of setting in comparison to just the regular day and night cycles of the game. So what drives you forward, other than just trying to take pictures of these Pokemon and capture them in all these different moments, there are actually challenges that kind of help you along the way to help you push forward through experience. Some of the challenges being like, catch this Pokemon as it jumps in the water, or the other one being, catch the Metapod as it uses a string shot and slowly dips down the tree. Silly little things that just help you along the way to push forward through the story. Alright, my time with Pokemon Snap, if you couldn't tell, has been pretty awesome. I mean, we got great graphics, we got a wicked region to explore, characters like Todd the photographer, throwbacks like that, we got new characters like Professor Mirror and Rita. Honestly, this game is a all-in-all complete package. If you're into taking pictures of Pokemon, I must say you must grab this. This is an 8.5 from me. New Pokemon Snap is a great throwback to the original while also being innovative. Taking pictures of Pokemon has never looked better than in this beautiful on-the-rails photo sim.
That's the stuff!
I've been watching my time slip away. You could say that there's days gone. This week, I got the chance to take a look at a game that I've seen from a distance but never actually played until this time around, but that is Days Gone. And if you haven't really heard about that game, it is kind of this motorcycle gang member as he progresses through a zombie apocalypse that has overtaken the world, and when you come into control of the character, it is just after you've decided to leave the city. It is a lot of emotion packed into an under 10-minute intro video, and I thought they did a really good job of nailing kind of what, you know, you're there to do in this game. You have an objective, you have an emotional reasoning motive for your actions, and you are set on your adventure. It hits you with a screen that says 2 years later, and that's when you control Deacon. Now, this 2 years later leaves a lot of room for explanation, and you kind of return back to that in the form of flashbacks and memories that play out in these cutscenes. And each one of those seems to be very emotionally heavy and really core to the story that is progressing before you. It's pretty spread apart. These missions are kind of geographically situated far across the map, and the map is very, very large. If you really buckle down and stick to one storyline, that's where I find that this game actually really conveys the story well. The cutscenes are meaningful, and everything seems really well acted, voice acting included. It's very convincing, and the story really hooked me, I have to admit. Now, when it comes down to the gameplay, the majority of what you're doing is exploring. You are definitely brought into combat scenarios, but for the most part, you're traversing the countryside and predominantly driving from point A to point B to initiate or terminate your missions. Now, that is done with the use of a motorcycle, and the controls can be a little clunky for the motorcycle. The enemies that surround the area are a mix of these zombie kind of infected enemy that attack in a horde, and these other survivor scavenger kind of folk that have formed tribes and are usually extremely hostile. So you can be ambushed by them even on the side of the road, and it can initiate this combat scenario you did not quite expect and maybe aren't prepared for, and that leads to a lot of difficulty kind of making it through each mission, because there's a lot of open road and a lot of opportunity to run into trouble. Now, the combat is very challenging, but you are rewarded for all of your kills, and they're not exactly easy kills to make. You are dealing with very limited ammo, and then you're left with just your melee knife, and that takes quite a long time to do damage, so it is quite a grind, so to speak. of fighting these enemies, but it gives you the ability to level up, and that can increase your health, that can increase your stamina. You could get these perks to allow you to shoot and fight back in a more effective manner. So it's very positive that they added some sort of depth, and there's also this crafting system to make advantage of, and that is how you restore a lot of your ammo types, create Molotov cocktails, and do that kind of thing. You can adapt weapons to upgrade them, and there's a little bit of depth there. It gives you something to look for while you're going through and exploring the overworld, because you're just a scavenger as well, and it fits the storyline well too. It's a lot better than the alternative if you were just laid on with ammunition always, or gasoline in the case of your motorcycle. That would be too easy and kind of work against the atmosphere that this game builds. Audio wise, there isn't really a whole lot to comment on, and that's sort of a comment on its own. The soundtrack is very lacking. I don't really notice any sort of music, which you're on a motorcycle cruising the countryside. There could have been a lot of music kind of stapled in there, but they chose not to do that. And I find it to be kind of quiet throughout the game, and that it didn't really take away because it adds to the aesthetic that they're building, but there was kind of a missed opportunity there. It didn't match the quality of the voice acting, which I found to be actually very effective and conveying of some really heavy emotion. I think they did a great job on the voice acting. There's a lot to this game, so if I've glazed over some items, that's potentially why. There's a lot to explain and then to have an opinion on as well. A lot of these pieces fit together in such a way that it's hard to explain unless experienced yourself. Now, I would recommend, if you enjoy these kind of large world open action games, I think this is going to be in your wheelhouse, as long as zombies don't put you off. For a lot of folk, I know the zombie fatigue has set in, but I feel that Days Gone approaches it well. There's more of a deliberate application of zombies across the map, and I think the combat is balanced with difficulty in a way that is refreshing to the normal zombie onslaught. But to kind of summarize, this game was very intriguing for me to jump in. I was very excited to get in, and it did not disappoint. I certainly understand how some people may take issue with the pacing of the game and kind of the open nature to it, but knowing that that was kind of par for the course, I had no issue with that myself. And personally, this game scratched a specific itch, that explorative zombie slaying and some sort of RPG leveling added in there as well. I really enjoyed this one. I have to give this an 8 out of 10.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us, because that's going to wrap things up for today. But we'll be back again next week. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of our show, all you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or hit us up on Discord, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. This week, we have the one and only, you see him every day over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg with ITG Daily, Scott Savage. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week inside the game.
Planting proximity mine.